everybody, I'm Melissa. Thank you so much for following along as I explore the unique charm of Japan's Takarazuka Revue. So in last week's episode, I looked at how actresses enter Takarazuka, that is, by passing the exceptionally difficult entrance exam for the Takarazuka Music School, the school at which all Takarazuka actresses must first train. This week, I'm going to be looking instead at the end of a Takarazuka actress's career as I attempt to answer the question, how does the Takarazuka graduation work? So I'll be looking at when and why actresses leave Takarazuka, what the spectacular graduation ceremony looks like, as well as briefly touching on what actresses do after Takarazuka. So to start off, you may be wondering why I'm using the word graduate to refer to what is essentially retirement from Takarazuka. Well, in Japanese, two words are used somewhat interchangeably to refer to this process. The first is taidan, which means leaving the group, and the second is sotsugyo, which means graduating. So my understanding is that the use of the word sotsugyo is related to some deep traditions, which mean that actresses, while they are with the Takarazuka Revue company, are in many ways regarded as students. This is a deeply traditional aspect of Takarazuka, which I hope to explore in greater detail in a future episode. But essentially, it's worth noting here the particular use of the word graduation. So, as I've mentioned in previous episodes, being a Takarazuka actress is not typically a lifelong career choice. But it's really difficult to say exactly how long an actress usually remains in Takarazuka. There's so much variation actress to actress. For example, some actresses might stay only a couple of years, while some actresses might stay a much longer time. But typically, 15 years is considered to be a really long career in Takarazuka, and by this time, most actresses will have left. It is a bit more common for musumeyaku to leave slightly earlier than otokoyaku, although this certainly isn't always the case. As I've mentioned before, all Takarazuka actresses' ages are kept secret. However, if you consider that actresses will enter the Takarazuka Music School between the ages of 15 and 18 and then spend 2 years of training, most Takarazuka actresses will graduate before they reach their mid-30s. So, for example, let's look at the 4 actresses from the Cosmos troupe who graduated in February of 2020. First, we have Hoshibu Kiyato, an otokoyaku who first performed with Takarazuka in 2007, so that's 13 years. Then we have Sakurane Rei and Aisaki Miria, both musumeyaku who first performed in 2008, so that's 12 years. And finally, we have Mireille Jun, an otokoyaku who first performed with Takarazuka in 2009, so that's 11 years. There are, however, some key exceptions to the typical Takarazuka graduation age. Perhaps the biggest exception is Senka, the group of select senior Takarazuka actresses who typically don't retire until they reach the general Japanese retirement age of 65. Another important exception are the kumicho and fuku kumicho, or president and vice president of each troupe, who I discussed briefly in episode 3. They will usually be a lot more senior, so for example, the current flower troupe kumicho, Takasho Mizuki, first performed with Takarazuka in 1990. And as I discussed in episodes 5 and 6, the top star and top musumeyaku will tend to perform in the top role for around 3 years. After this, they will graduate from Takarazuka regardless of their age at the time. So the next question that may come to mind is, why do most Takarazuka actresses leave Takarazuka at a relatively young age? Well, there are a number of reasons for this. However, perhaps the greatest is convention. When Takarazuka was first started in 1913, it was expected that actresses would leave Takarazuka with a wealth of training in beauty and charm and go on to become the perfect wives. Takarazuka actresses are not permitted to marry while they are with the Takarazuka Revue company, so actresses needed to leave while still within marrying age. The thinking now, of course, is really different. However, the restriction on marriage and the convention of leaving Takarazuka while still relatively young have been maintained, although I do understand the retirement age has increased over time. There are, however, a number of other factors which support a relatively young graduation age for Takarazuka actresses. As I mentioned earlier, Takarazuka actresses are in many ways regarded as students while they are with the Takarazuka Revue company, and the rules and regulations they must follow are far-reaching and strict. All Takarazuka actresses also work incredibly taxing schedules, often performing in 3-hour-length musical productions 10 times a week for around 2 months, before a short break, and then it's back to rehearsals for the process to start all over again. So the tightly controlled lifestyle of a Takarazuka actress is not something most people can or would want to maintain over a long period of time. Add in the physically demanding nature of being a Takarazuka actress, and I think it's pretty easy to understand why most actresses leave while still relatively young. In terms of the actual factors that make up an individual actress's decision to leave Takarazuka, well, these are of course incredibly variable. For example, an actress may decide she wants to try performing outside of Takarazuka or a career outside of performing altogether. She may decide she wants to get married and start a family, or she may just feel it's her time to leave Takarazuka, especially as she sees her fellow classmates from the Takarazuka Music School starting to graduate around her. Of course, there may also be performance, discipline, or health issues leading to an actress's graduation. So, how does the graduation process work? Well, it is most common for actresses to graduate following the final performance of a main production at the Tokyo Takarazuka Theatre, also known as Senshuraku. However, actresses can graduate at other times, sometimes, for example, at the final performance of a side production at a different theatre, or outside of the performance schedule altogether, although this is more common for younger, less well-established actresses. So when an actress decides to leave Takarazuka, an announcement will be posted on the Takarazuka official website, giving the actress's name and the date of graduation. If the graduation will be following the final performance of a main production, this notification will often be made around 4 or 5 months in advance. Around the time of graduation, there will be a number of photo shoots and interviews with the graduating actresses in Takarazuka's monthly magazines. In addition, if the graduating actress is a top star or top musumeyaku, there will be a press conference following the notification of their graduation. This press conference is always covered extensively across news media in Japan. So for each main production, typically around 3 or 4, but sometimes more, actresses will graduate following the final performance. As such, on the Senshuraku, or the final day of a production, both in Hyogo and Tokyo, there will be a spectacular graduation ceremony at the conclusion of the final performance. So this ceremony does differ depending on who is graduating, but essentially, the graduating actresses will arrive at the theatre wearing all white. Following the conclusion of the performance, they will change into the traditional Takarazuka uniform, which is a Japanese hakama consisting of a long dark green skirt, a black shirt with flowing sleeves, and white socks and white sandals. They will then appear on stage, where they will usually be presented with a large bouquet of flowers. This bouquet is actually arranged by the actress or her fan club, so the flowers are chosen to match the favourite flowers and colours of the actress. Interestingly, I have read that there is a rule in Takarazuka that the junior actresses cannot have more expensive flowers than the senior actresses. So it seems that most senior actresses will kindly choose very expensive flowers to allow the junior actresses a greater choice. Following the performance, the graduating actress will leave the theatre still wearing their ceremonial uniform and carrying their flowers, where thousands of fans will be waiting to wave a final goodbye. The graduating actress's fan club will be dressed all in white, so the outside of the theatre does tend to look like just a sea of white. The graduating actress will give a final speech and then enter a waiting car. There's always a lot of tears and laughter, and graduation day is really such a moving time, both for actresses and fans alike. I should note that the graduation ceremony for top stars and top musumeyaku are a little bit different, and they do tend to incorporate some acting scenes and song and dance numbers designed to make the goodbye really special. So tickets to Senshuraku are always incredibly difficult to get, especially if it is a final show for a top star or top musumeyaku. However, Senshuraku is always broadcast live across movie theatres in Japan, giving more fans a chance to watch. So following graduation, what do most Takarazuka actresses do? Well, again, there is an incredible amount of variation here. Some go on to appear in musicals all across Japan. Some appear in television dramas, motion pictures, variety shows, with some even becoming household names all across Japan. Some former actresses release music and tour across Japan with concerts or dinner shows. Some become fashion models. Some former Takarazuka actresses retire from show business altogether and pursue another career or start a family. It is also very common for actresses to go on to work at least partly as vocal dance and acting coaches, especially those for young girls hoping to enter the Takarazuka Music School. Takarazuka actresses' fans will often continue to support their favourite actress long after her graduation. Recently, many former Takarazuka actresses have started joining social media like Instagram and Twitter, allowing fans to more closely follow their adventures. So that is how the Takarazuka graduation process works. I think the graduation process and the relatively short amount of time most Takarazuka actresses spend in Takarazuka are some of the most unique aspects of Takarazuka. While an actress's graduation is always an incredibly sad moment for fans as they must say farewell, it's also a great opportunity to show appreciation for an actress's hard work and wish them the best for their future, whatever it may be. I always like to imagine that actresses spend the month after graduation just in a cocoon-like state in their home, getting a really well-deserved rest. So in next week's video, I'm going to be looking at an important decision that all Takarazuka actresses must make as I attempt to answer the question, how does a Takarazuka actress decide to be an otokoyaku or a musumeyaku? I really hope you'll tune in. And if you've been liking this series so far, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care. Bye!